I'm your host, Jason Downs, and this is a special broadcast here at KHTS, your hometown station, because mental health is important to us, and we believe it is important to the well being of our community. Today is February 14th, Valentine's Day, and we thought it would be the perfect time to talk about love and how it can affect our mental health both positively and negatively. We'll talk about romantic love. We'll talk about dating on the internet. We'll talk about body image, sex versus intimacy, and the traits of a healthy relationship. So I am extremely glad that you've joined us here on Mental Health Hookup. Here's to your good health and good health for all. Once again, we're so fortunate to have Barbara Wilson of Mental Health Hookup with us today to take your calls and talk about mental health. Barbara Wilson has a Master of Social Work degree and has worked as a licensed clinical therapist in the state of California for the past 50 years. So always an honor and a pleasure to have you here, my dear. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. This is always such a treat.
Well, it's a pleasure. I look forward to it each month. So, Mental Health Hookup is a nonprofit and is dedicated to providing clinical support to families who are affected by serious mental illness in the Santa Clarita Valley and beyond. So, whatever your mental health services they can provide, or they will hook you up with someone who can. They should be your first and last stop for mental health in the Santa Clarita Valley. So, if you or a member of your family or anyone you know is suffering from mental illness, then please reach out, make an appointment today at mentalhealthhookup.org or by calling 661 799 7994 to speak to a live agent 24 hours a day. So, love. Happy Valentine's Day.
And the same to you, and the same to all of the listeners out there. I was just thinking on my way over. There's so much attached to Valentine's. I can remember, getting the little heart things with writings on it when I was in elementary school. And oh my God, woe beyond the kid who didn't get as many and how crushed they were. And you fast forward that into adulthood and it's still happening. So if you don't have a Valentine person in your life tonight, today, it's okay. It's just another day that ends in Y.
Well, I welcome, as always, we welcome folks to call in. We have Patty standing by to screen our callers, but the number is 661 298 5487. That's 298 5487. So we welcome your thoughts and feelings today on Valentine's Day, which can be a difficult day for a lot of people for the reasons that you just illustrated. So, how is it? How is it that we that we deal with? I mean, even if you're in a relationship, we know how difficult that can be sometimes, especially to maintain this thing we've come to know as romantic love. So sometimes that pressure, even just that pressure, can be a lot. So, what do you find in your practice?
Whew,
How do you help folks?
that's a big question.
Well, we've
Couple of things I've been noticing. One is there's a real difference between romantic love and what you talked about, sustaining a love relationship between two people. I'm hoping it's two people. I'm just assuming two people. It might not be.
could be more.
It
Yeah,
could be
sure.
more. Can be a bit crowded, but um,
And of course, we always encourage people to self love as well.
self love. Uh, Interesting that you mentioned that. I'm just going to segue on that for just a minute. Was reading and reviewing the traits of a healthy relationship, and one of them is to learn to love the self first, the self,
Hmm.
then others. Um, and so I just put that out there because So often, at least in my day, which is a long time ago, I call it back in the Stone Age when I was growing up, everything was about when you get married. You know, the music, the television shows, everything reinforced church, schools, everything was you're going to grow up and you're going to wait for him with a capital H. And, it was kind of that sleeping beauty myth
Hmm.
that your life would not begin until the kiss. And then once the kiss, you would know that's the right one. God forbid you didn't kiss anybody but that one. And then the rest of your life was happily ever after. And we had Doris Day and Rock Hudson movies. And they always ended when they got together at the beginning of the marriage, not after they'd been married about 10 years and had a couple of kids. So that's a very different relationship when you've been in
Hmm.
a long term relationship than the romantic, the court, the chasing, the hearts and flowers, and then you hear songs like "He doesn't bring me flowers anymore," or "You don't bring me flowers anymore." Yeah,
Barbara Streisand and
eh,
Neil Diamond.
yeah, and it might be that there's no money for flowers anymore because it's going on
Hmm.
the kids' neat cleats to play soccer. So there's a lot of nuance in maintaining and there are even songs about how do you keep the romance going um, in a long-term
Well,
relationship.
and talking about self-love, right? So if someone does not have a solid foundation and in loving themselves, I feel like this portion of a relationship is what is affected most. The portion that you're talking about, the
Oh yeah,
post
yeah.
courtship, right? Starts to really, I mean, that comes into play a whole lot more. If you
It
don't love
does.
yourself, then
Then
you're
you're
gonna.
looking for validation of the self from another through the eyes of another person, and of course that is what happens with a mother and an infant. Is an infant learns to see himself or herself through the eyes of this loving mother. That's how an infant learns to walk. Is come to mama, and the infant can't walk really, but he wobbles because he knows mama's there, waiting, smiling. Mama loves him or her. And so when you have someone who has really a very damaged kind of self, or maybe they don't have a self at all, then they're looking for that other person for validation and reflection of who are you? Well, I'm whoever you think I am. Well, I'll be whatever you need me to be because I can't let you go because I need you. So the relationship is based on need rather than I am a self contained person. I'm fully grounded. I have goals and aspirations, and I know very clearly who I am. And
I'm
now
choosing this
I'm
person as a
choosing this
life partner
person,
to go on
and
this
it is a
journey with. Yeah,
choice. It
very
is
different.
not
Yeah.
of a necessity. So that changes the dynamic of a relationship. Yeah. And one of the things we talk about is healthy relationships versus what used to be called dysfunctional relationships. I don't know what they're called today, but we see them all over the place. And so that gets into expectations. You know, if I expect you to know without me telling you what I want you to do, we're in trouble. Because if I expect you to bring me
That's a big one. That's
flowers
a big one.
on Valentine's Day, for example, but I don't mention that I want and expect flowers on Valentine's Day, and then the Valentine's is over, and tomorrow morning I wake up and now I am really letting you know in a lot of nonverbal ways that I am not happy with you. And maybe I'm slamming the eggs on the plates or whatever, but I'm
There
letting you know I'm not happy.
and there's the key right there. You said nonverbal. So,
And then you don't know. It's like, what? These
right.
eggs, they're burned. What? What's going on? Nothing. Nothing. You know.
Hmm.
Where's the communication?
Do you think because my advice would be to people like me out there, the husbands and whatnot, to ask, to rather than leave these things as a nonverbal type of communication, make them a verbal communication. Ask, oh, what are your expectations for Valentine's Day?
And
What do
you
you
will be
like?
amazed at the number of people. I'm not going to just say this for women, but there are many women that will say nothing. And you go, no, I know it's something. You're not
I
happy.
see.
You're
Okay.
crying. You're tearing up. I mean, did I do something? No,
No, no, no.
nothing.
I mean beforehand, though. Beforehand, have the conversation.
Wouldn't it be nice?
I'm recommending husbands
But if
have
you
that
do that for
conversation. What do
some
you?
people, that takes away from the romanticism because you
Okay,
see, we have the
that's true.
picture of he is going to come up, he's going to ride his white stallion or his red Porsche or his Mercedes Sports or whatever, and he's going to sweep me off my feet, and I'll just be taken. So see, part of that is not realistic. I call it the marketing of relationships. I mean, if you look at some of the websites for dating, for example, do you see anybody ever ugly on there? I mean, come on, there are some ugly people on the planet. They could have at least found one, but you never see an ugly person on there. Even the ones for mature people, 50s and over, single sites, they're all tanned and they've got great hair and uh, the picture of health. Maybe they're playing tennis, not an ounce of fat.
I can't say that I'm experienced with online dating, but I do imagine that it's the perfect place to put forth your perfect image. Obviously, I mean, there's no right. I mean, there's no right. You can be whatever you want to be, and I mean, look, my mother-in-law actually experienced this. She's been single now for a little while, and she's a beautiful older woman like yourself, 70. Uh, to my mind, perfectly viable for a number of suitors, I would think. Uh, and yet, online, there is a culture that allows for men to basically take advantage of women.
That's exactly
and
right.
a
That's
couple of
exactly
times
right.
she's come in contact with people who are not legitimate and looking for, I have this issue with my car, can you lend me a couple $100, this sort of thing. It's just so frustrating.
You know, this online dating thing is something I'm seeing in my practice. Um, Both older and younger, and I see how it leads some people into really spiraling downward into to significant depression because there is this onset of frequency. Oh, they're talking all the time. They're texting. They're, doing all those kinds of messages,
Hmm.
IM, TM, whatever they're doing, whatever they call it. And then all of a sudden, there's nothing. Radio silence.
Mm.
And so the person is kind of left wondering, what did I do? What did I not do? What did I say? Why didn't I say? You know, all of that stuff is churning. And now is, well, maybe I don't look thin enough. I'm not pretty enough.
Which leads to the
And
pictures
which
you're
leads to
talking
the
about.
pictures of,
More and more
not
false
being enough.
representation. Yeah.
And then clearly I'm not enough. And we see people actually, sometimes making a suicide attempt
Hmm.
because they, you know, begin to really fundamentally question their worth. And if your worth is valued in the eyes of another person, back to that damaged self,
Hmm.
if, we see it with teenagers even, and I don't particularly work with teenagers, but I do notice that the suicide rate is pretty high with adolescents these days. And this notion of I measure my self worth according to how many clicks I get, how many likes I get, how many whatevers that I get or I don't get. And now I'm fundamentally flawed by that measurement and that measurement alone. Never mind, I might have gotten straight A's, or I might be number one soccer player in my league. None of that matters now. Only thing that matters is I'm not good enough for those clicks.
Right.
So I see it as being, I mean, would I ever tell somebody not to do online dating? No. I wouldn't have the power to stop it anyway. But I do see how it damages, or it has the potential to
I mean,
damage
especially
people.
during these times, I'm sure when we're more isolated,
Yes,
even you become more reliant on that sort of feedback,
yes.
uh, which is tough. I mean, I understand. I understand.
And what I call the faux intimacy, FAUX, mean is
Hmm.
false intimacy. So you meet somebody online, they're not even maybe giving you their right name. You have no way of checking their ID to say, are you who you really say you are? And so people begin to divulge all kinds of very personal information to this new relationship with a person that they don't really know.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? Well, just about everything.
661-298-5487 if you'd like to call in and speak to Barbara Wilson here. So, you were talking about younger people before and how the whole online dating world can be very stressful and damaging to body image and then being ghosted but that can happen to anyone of any age.
Yes,
So
like
I mean,
newly divorced people.
well, so using I don't mean to call out my mother-in-law, but she's a lovely person who I care about. So, I in her instance, the issues become similar, but in a way, she doesn't want to become nursemaid to someone older than her, or that's, you know what I mean?
I know
Attach
exactly
herself
what
to
you mean.
someone who
I'm in
is,
that age group. I
you
call
know,
neither nurse nor purse.
and yet, I mean, but she longs for a companion. Obviously, she longs for a friendship, even someone to do things, a partner in crime, so to speak. You know what I mean? I don't know that she needs a life partner at this point, at this age, but most of the men her age also, it seems, can get younger women. So
And that is their
there's this age
attraction.
group that just kind of gets left out a little bit, is what it feels like to me as an observer. I don't know what it feels like
Um,
to her, or
Many, many men. I have a client who is very, 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 very depressed almost all the time. A male, and he's an older gentleman. It's really hard for me to get him to be willing to come out of his cave, as I call it, and just let's just go outdoors on the patio and sit and talk. Oh, my life is over. Oh, I can't make any more money, and I've lost all the money I had. But boy, let me take him to the doctor and have a cute nurse or technician come and offer services to him. He perks up and he is on point, and he wants to know what more about her life. I mean, it's like watering a plant to watch it happen. I mean, it's just amazing to me. But would he perk up to an old broad like me? I mean, I'm his therapist, so it's not appropriate, okay? Make that clear.
Sure.
But as older men, just because a man is older doesn't mean he's attracted to older women.
Yeah, it looks like we have a caller. They're just trying to work it out. Yeah, I mean that seems to be something to me, especially this time of year and on Valentine's Day, is something that is so hard to reconcile because I'm kind of an eternal optimist, and I feel like there is someone for everyone, even if you're just talking about a companion, a friend who loves you and appreciates you for who you are. I tend, that's maybe my naive belief,
I don't know that it's so much naive, but I also don't know whether or not your mother-in-law might not need to reframe and really become clear about what it is she's looking for. Because if it's companionship that she's looking for, she might partner with some older women. There are
Mm-hmm.
lots of older
Mm-hmm.
women that are widows or divorcees or but for whatever reason their kids are grown, they're alone, and they're not really, most of us of a certain age are really not comfortable going out alone, no matter how much words we talk.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We don't want to go to a restaurant and be by ourselves. We don't want to go to a movie theater and be sitting alone
Sure.
because, we just weren't trained that way. So to connect with other women and go see a movie or have dinner and go see a movie, now we've got companionship. We can sit and talk.
Absolutely. And she does. And she does that.
I
She does that.
hear I have heard men say there's nobody that talks nastier than a bunch of old women when they get together. I don't know that that's true,
Okay. Yeah, I
but
don't. I don't know. I don't know. But let's. Should we take a break and let you figure out how to get the caller on, and then okay. All right. Patty's going to work on getting our caller in. So stay with us because we will be right back. This is Mental Health Hookup with Barbara Wilson. I'm Jason Downs. You're listening to KHTS 98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Your business sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
Time for a car wash, but fearful of the scratches that go along with it? Canny Car Wash and Valencia Car Wash proudly use 100% lamb's cloth to prevent scratches and provide the best wash possible. Both locations use environmentally friendly solutions to wash and wax your vehicle, and they both accept all other car wash coupons. Give your vehicle the wash it deserves. Visit Canny Car Wash on Soledad across from Edwards Cinema or Valencia Car Wash on Creekside Road behind Target.
Make 2022 a super year at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the thrill capital of the world. Conquer the strength of the mighty Goliath, the bravery of traveling through the dimensions on X2, and the dual power of wood and steel on Twisted Colossus. Cross off adventure on your bucket list and experience unmatched thrills like West Coast Racers, the world's first single-track quadruple launch racing coaster. The new Revolution, the world's first 360-degree vertical looping coaster. And Full Throttle featuring a 160-foot loop and first ever top hat, sending riders over the top of the loop. The thrill is calling you to experience the fastest, steepest, and tallest coasters in the world. Visit hometownstation.com for your chance to win free tickets to Six Flags Magic Mountain with KHTS. Get the best deals on tickets and passes when you visit sixflags.com today. Full vaccination or negative COVID test is required on select days. Details at sixflags.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is Mental Health Hookup. I'm your host, Jason Downs. We're here with Barbara Wilson, who has been a clinical therapist for the past 50 years here in California. And we're talking about love today and how it can affect our mental health positively and negatively. So we've been talking about online dating. It seems that's where the conversation went. So we can continue to invite callers. It seems we're having some issues with the lines here, but please keep trying. 661-298-5487. think we've got a new phone system here that we're trying to work out the kinks, so bear with us. Just try again. We would love to hear from you. So, as far as love on today, where we're all supposed to be in love, and for those of us who are not in relationships and want to be, is this a source of stress that you find
Yes.
a lot in your practice? And
Yes.
does it come with depression, and does it come with different things that are treatable?
Yes, absolutely. I want to go back a little bit just to about the online dating thing, and just say one of the things I'm noticing is some people are beginning to separate sex from intimacy. 'Cause intimacy is that emotional part of you that lets people know who you really are, and you trust that they've got your back, that sort of thing. Now, that used to be in combination with sex. I am seeing increasingly a separation that people plan to go have sex. I'm going to go out, I'm going to have a good time, I'm going to maybe drink a little too much and get laid. And then that's over. I'm going to go back to my life and my good friends that I trust that have my back. So that is kind of of concern to me, and I'm not saying that people should have them combined, but it is really something I'm noticing that it increasingly. I had one lady. She said, "I have sex, but I won't let them kiss me." I'm like, "Well, what is that about?" She said, "Well, that would be like too intimate." Right. So from the neck down, you're having sex, but it's too intimate to press your lips against somebody. I don't quite get that, but I'm seeing some of that.
Well, so why does that concern you as far as people's mental health?
Well, one of the things we look at in mental health is integration. It's like there, I call it sectors of your life. So you have your economic sector where you earn a living, a career space. You have a spiritual base, no matter what you call it, religion, various things that goes by. You have your exercise and health and wellness space. You have relationship space. You have family space. So you have these various sectors. In an ideal world, those sectors come together in the same body. That person is aware and says, okay, there's 24 hours in a day. I'm going to spend 8 hours in sleep, 8 hours in my career space, and 8 hours to do all the other stuff I've got to do relating to my family, having sex, studying, whatever else I've got to do, working out, training for a marathon or something. And while you may not be doing all of those things every single 24-hour cycle, there should be an overall awareness that I come together and all of these are parts of who I am. But I don't have this very separate thing that says, I have sex, but it's kind of like almost anonymous sex. I don't necessarily need or want to have a relationship. I may not even want to see that person again. We're going to meet and the words I hear are hook up, which is kind of funny with mental health hookup because that's not what we mean at all. But, so there is this kind of my growing awareness. It may have been there all the time, but
It's certainly been there my whole life. There's always been a little bit of my generation, or the people that I've known growing up, where you go through stages where okay, well, I'm not looking to have a serious relationship right now, so I'm just going to have fun. going
Have
to
fun.
meet
That's it.
people
I'm gonna
and
have fun, go out, get
yeah,
laid,
exactly.
and if I never see them again, it's no big deal. In fact, it is a problem if I do see them again, because I don't really want that.
And you think this is relatively unhealthy, is what you're
I
saying?
don't know that it. I don't know where it goes, and
Because
that's
don't you think, and I don't mean to interrupt because
go.
I want to hear what you have to say, but don't you think it could possibly fall under the category of life experience? Because juxtaposed to the scenario that we were talking about earlier, where your generation was taught, okay, wait for that kiss from that one
Yes,
special
yes.
person. And most often it was what? Your second boyfriend, your third, your
You're
first
first. You're
boyfriend?
first.
And to me and to my generation, I feel like it you know, we looked at that model of our parents' model and we said, okay, well, that didn't work, you know, very often or very well for most people involved. So let's try something else. Let's try and play a little more house, you know, here with folks.
I do see a lot
Let's
of
try a
experimenting
little
in
more
models, and
experience, you
I
know?
would not even call it unhealthy. I do just see a lot of experimentation going on with different models. Like, for example, people having a child with intention, as opposed to my era where we had a lot of babies born unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
But where you have in vitro or some of these other methods of conceptual, gay couples partnering with another gay couple, and so there's really this child now has the richness of four parents.
Mm-hmm.
So there never is going to be a divorce in that child's life. That child is adored by four people.
By
And
an
the,
all male couple and an all female
and
couple, or
exactly.
any variation thereof. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, hey,
And
I mean, hey, I've always, I don't know how you feel, but I've always felt the more love, the better.
the more love, the better.
I mean,
That is true. I mean, one of the things I looked at as I met some of the people that adopted this model is how much safety there would be for these children at birth that they never would have to go through a divorce. Because the parents were 100% committed to these children. They didn't share the same household because there were two separate households, but the children were brought into this world knowing that they are loved and adored by these two separate households and multiple grandparents doting on them. I mean, just, it's a whole different model that is very interesting to watch, as opposed to
So-
the ones that are saying we're monogamous, we're only going to have sex with this one person for the rest of our lives. Oh, but we're going to swing.
while we're on this somewhat touchy and difficult topic for some folks, have you found in your 50 years of practice that the love given by a same-sex couple is any more or less or better or worse than that of a heterosexual
The
couple?
love is the same. The consequences are so different.
What do you mean by consequences?
Um, I know of a couple, lesbian couple. They lived together, bought property together for over 30 years, 35, 40 years of what I would have called marriage, but it wasn't legal, so it wasn't called marriage. They paid taxes, you know. And when one partner developed a life debilitating emphysema, which is a very long, chronic illness before you die. It's a nasty disease. But her partner took off work to take care of her, therefore saving the taxpayers' money, if you look at it that way. But anyway, eventually her partner did die. The result, however, was when her partner died, all of the finances died with her because this partner, because they were not legally married, she could not get any widow's benefits. So she had to not only lose her partner, but at the same time try to figure out how to sell the house because she couldn't afford it on her own. She was now of an age where she was not
Did
really.
they have children as well? Because I was
One.
specifically okay.
One.
Okay, yeah. I
One.
was specifically curious about your experience with that too.
They had
Yeah.
one child. So the problem is not with the children accepting their parents' lifestyle. Rather, it seems to be the judgment that the children encounter in public spaces like in schools.
Of course. Yeah. So it's just potentially an
So that's
added
kind of what I meant by consequences.
gotcha, an added burden potentially.
The added burden of the judgment of people that are total strangers that make comments. You have two moms? How weird are you? You know, and you know how kids are. If,
Sure.
you know, if you have on a pink and everybody else has blue, then you're weird. You know, so there's that. And sometimes there are oftentimes strained, I want to say extended families. Like these people were of a generation where neither one of them had parents that were accepting of that their lifestyle, and the fact that they were living in sin, you know, all of that. So they did not get any support that normally, had they married heterosexually, the families would have been all in. Let's have a shower or whatever.
Which is
plan
such
the
a shame
wedding.
too, because again, back to the more love is always better than less.
And imagine the tax consequences. When people are married, they are the beneficiaries of certain tax benefits that as unmarried people, and this is government, this is not religion. So you have a religion that says, I don't subscribe to gay people, fine. That's your religion. That's your right. But in a government space, that's public space with taxpayer dollars. That's not okay. That's a matter of civil rights.
So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about some of the positive benefits of love that you've that you've seen
It's an aphrodisiac.
in mental health, because it obviously has very positive effects as well. So stay with us. We're with Barbara Wilson here on Mental Health Hookup, KHTS 98.1 FM and AM 1220.
This is Bradley Gross, Executive Director and one of the lead volunteers of Santa Clarita Grocery. We want to thank our sponsors who made our 4th annual Toy Town on Main Street a success, which brought Christmas to over 400 families in the Santa Clarita Valley. A big thank you to KHTS for the holiday tunes, Max Pool Supply for your parking lot, Louie and the Lions Club of Castaic for your Christmas float, Santa Clarita Coalition that allows us to bring humanitarian relief to Santa Clarita Valley, and to our sponsoring partners, Patty Narana Farmers Insurance, Tri-Scenic Production Services, Bulldog Liquidators, Hydrex Pest Control, RNS Automotive, Rosie Alcaraz Loan Depot, Studio Work Rentals, Forza Construction, Target, Albertsons, California Highway Patrol, Chiquita Canyon Landfill, American Legion Squadron 507, We Calls Carpet and Flooring, Debbie Briscoe Century 21, DW Cookie Company, Madison Platter, Robert Small, Focus Physical Therapy, Dr. George Sharnock, Dr. Tom and Tony Pilecki, Bethlehem Lutheran Church, First Presbyterian Church Newhall, Haven House Church, and Real Life Charities. We're stronger together.
Your business sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
I listen to it all day, every day.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back. 3 more days. I'll be coming home to you, darling. It's Valentine's Day. Excuse me. You're listening to Mental Health Hookup with Barbara Wilson. I'm Jason Downs, your host. We have been talking about love today, of course, and how it can have negative effects on our mental health, but it can also have positive effects. And for anyone who still would like to call in and speak to Barbara, of course, we welcome you. 661-298-5487 is the number. So, have you seen in your 50 years of practice, have you seen love save anyone? Have you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I think in my field we don't call it love as much as we call it the relationship. I see the relationship save lives, save
So
families.
So a functional,
It doesn't
positive
even have to
relationship?
be functional, actually.
Oh, okay.
If it
Interesting.
just, for many people, if it just is there, that it's consistent, that a person knows that no matter what, this person, I can go to them in time of need. I can go to them when life is kicking me down. And I can actually tell them my truth that right now I'm going through a hard time. And they'll say, "Oh, do you want a cookie? How about we go get some pizza?" You know, rather than, there's going to be this judgment, "Oh, clearly you must have done something wrong or you wouldn't be going through this crap." That kind of support that comes from a relationship cannot be bottled. If it could be bottled and sold, it would be a top-selling product. The st- and when people leave their mother, they need to get that strength and that support from someone else or something else. And very often that's in a love relationship. That's a partner that you know for sure that you can go to this person and say, "I'm thinking about, flying to the moon. What do you think?" And they'll just go, "Well, that's a nice idea. I hadn't thought of you doing that, but, tell me more." That kind of ability to dream and have your dreams be watered like a plant is really, really critical for, I want to say, any kind of growth, whether it's spiritual growth or career growth, any kind of big decision that a person is making. Before a person makes any kind of decision, there's something called the contemplative portion, where they're just sort of thinking about taking an action. They haven't taken it yet. I mean, we talk about it more often with sobriety, but it happens, I think, with everything.
So you need that trusted
You
confidant
need that
to bounce
confidant.
it,
Yes, you
bounce
do.
it off of.
And if it's a place where you also get sex, well, that just it doesn't get better than that.
Bonus. So in the absence of that, that's where you find. I mean, because obviously some people are fine alone, right? I mean, it's probably the exception rather than the rule. Obviously, that someone is truly fulfilled being alone in their life, but more often than not, it sounds.
Even when people are alone, many times if you scratch the surface, there's some relationship underneath there that maybe they don't check in real regularly.
But they still.
I have a girlfriend. She and I went to college together. Now, you know how long ago college was for me. I graduated college in 1966, and we graduated together. Even today, I could call her and we'll start talking like there was no passage of time in all these years. Now, we've both married, we both had kids. Our kids are now in their 40s. But still, we have that touchstone that we can just start talking about stuff like there was no passage of time.
It's so important.
So even loners very often have somebody it might be a home parish priest that they knew growing up. It might be a football coach. There's a book, Tuesdays with Maury or something like that, and it was about that kind of a relationship. It wasn't a romantic relationship. It was actually a student and a professor. But there is very often there's somebody that they resonate with, that they trust.
So, in these instances where you found relationships that actually save someone's mental state,
Oh,
mental
absolutely.
being, was it always a love, like a life partner in that
No,
way, or
absolutely
no? Okay.
not. Absolutely not. One of the most influential roles I think that happens with young boys and maybe young girls too, but in my day sports was mostly boys, is the coach. You know, I could tell my son when he was growing up something over and over again. He did not, it was like water off of
But
duck.
if coach says the
But when
same,
he would come home and say, the coach said, I need to do bloody, bloody, blood, I'm like, what? I've been telling you that for. But the coach said it is gospel. It's a done deal, and he's going to do it. The coach told him stop skateboarding. He stopped.
it's funny. All human beings have a little penchant for that sort of right for not hearing it from one person, but you can hear it from someone else.
Mom has no clout.
Yeah.
You know, but so no, it is absolutely not always a romantic love relationship, but it is always a relationship. And I know this is Valentine's Day, but I just want to put a word out to people. If you know someone that has serious mental illness, like schizophrenia or like major depression or like bipolar disorder, there is a book by Dr. Amador, I think is his name, Xavier Amador, and it's about his relationship with his brother who had schizophrenia, would not take medication. They went through years and years of fighting over the medication. Finally, the brother agreed to take medication, not because he ever thought he had mental illness, but because he noticed it meant so much to his brother. He said, well, if it pleases you, it's obviously that important to you, I'll take the friggin' medication because it means so much to you and you mean a lot to me. So it's back to that kind of mother exchange. Why do we learn to walk? Because our mothers tell us we can, and we trust that relationship.
Well, if you are out there and need someone to talk to, or know someone who needs to speak to someone like Barbara Wilson, then please, I encourage you to schedule an appointment today at mentalhealthhookup.org or by calling 661-799-7994, where there is a live agent 24 hours a day to take your call and set up an appointment. Barbara, as always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. What makes you feel loved? We'll end with one of your questions earlier. What
I think
makes
what
you
makes
feel
me
loved?
feel loved is family. You know, it's not even
Hard to beat.
It's not stuff. It's, spending an hour with my daughter and my ex-husband. That's golden. That time is precious. Yeah. And of course, if somebody buys me flowers, I'm all in for that. I love flowers.
Well, yeah, you can't go wrong. That's another thing, important thing to put out there. If you're wondering whether or not your wife or significant other or whomever would like something for Valentine's Day, like a card or a bouquet of flowers, the answer is an easy yes, I would think.
Yes,
You can't go wrong.
yes.
You're
Flowers,
certainly not
yes. Plants, no. That's more work. I have to take care of them.
Right.
But flowers, yes.
Their favorite treat and some flowers. You can't go wrong.
Just flowers and, maybe a day at a spa would be nice.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I love a good massage.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm way overdue. That's one of the
Well,
downsides of COVID is I haven't had a massage in a
Oh,
long
no,
time.
right, yes. Yeah, well, that's part of self-love too, isn't it? As always, we'd like to thank the amazing staff here at KHTS and the owners, Jerry and Carl, for making this show possible. We appreciate your support and the support of mental health in our community. And of course, we'd like to thank our fantastic engineer, Patty Shwika. Thank you so much, ma'am. Pleasure to have you here on Mental Health Hookup. I'm Jason Downs. You've been listening to Barbara Wilson. This is KHTS. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and stay optimistic.